In any organization, whether it's a bustling corporate office or a passionate community project, there's a moment when everyone looks to one person for answers. Picture this: a respected leader in his mid 40s standing before his team. He's radiating confidence, or so it seems, as he promises to navigate them through a major crisis. But if you look closely, you'll see the subtle, wary glances exchanged between his staff. They've seen this before. They sense the truth behind the bravado. As he speaks of solutions and a clear path forward, the camera pushes past the confident facade, zooming in on his eyes. They're nervous, darting, betraying an internal storm of doubt. He's overwhelmed, and they know it. This isn't the story of a hero. This is the story of a leader who is about to become the biggest problem of all. The crisis they face is a beast of a problem. Imagine a system so broken, a project so far off the rails, that it threatens the very foundation of their work. One by one, dedicated team members step forward. They present the cold, hard facts on screens and tablets, data, charts, and grim projections. They're offering pieces of the puzzle, trying to build a shared understanding. But the leader isn't listening. He interrupts, nodding as if he understands complexities that are clearly over his head. Yes, yes, I see, he says, waving away a critical detail. He dismisses well-reasoned suggestions with a casual flick of the wrist. It's a performance of competence, and a poor one at that. You can see the frustration etching itself onto the faces of his staff. The hope they had just moments ago evaporates, replaced by a sinking feeling. They realize with dawning horror that their leader has no plan. He's just improvising, and the stakes are far too high for that. From that moment on, things begin to unravel, and fast. The leader starts issuing directives, but they're a tangled mess of contradictions. One moment he's demanding they push forward with Plan A, the next, he's barking orders to halt everything and switch to Plan B, a plan that directly conflicts with the first. You see scenes of the staff, their faces a mixture of confusion and exhaustion. Scrambling to keep up, they're trying to follow his unclear orders, but it's like trying to build a house in an earthquake. The tension in the room becomes a palpable thing. The background hum of a productive office is replaced by a tense, uneasy silence, punctuated by the frantic clicking of keyboards trying to undo the latest mistake. The problems they were hired to solve are now getting worse. Deadlines are flying by, critical errors are slipping through. The cracks and conflicts are erupting between colleagues who are all just trying to do their job. The organization is starting to groan under the weight of his misguided decisions. The breakdown of trust is a quiet but devastating process. It doesn't happen in a big dramatic explosion. It happens in whispers. You see it in the hallways, where team members huddle together, their voices low, sharing their worries about his erratic behavior. They talk about his incompetence, not with malice, but with a sense of dread. One of the organization's veterans, a mentor figure who has seen it all, tries to intervene. He approaches the leader gently, offering advice, a helping hand. Are you sure you don't need another set of eyes on this? He asks. The leader's reaction is swift and defensive. I've got everything under control, he snaps, his voice sharp. He refuses the help, seeing it as a challenge to his authority rather than the lifeline it is. He starts blaming others for the poor outcomes, pointing fingers at the very people who are working tirelessly to hold things together. We see a quick montage of failure, a collapsing chart of project milestones, angry emails flooding an inbox, a client walking away. The system is failing, not because of the original problem, but because of the leader's ego. And then comes the turning point. The moment when the leader's actions create a catastrophe far bigger than the crisis he was supposed to solve. It's a key mistake, a single bad decision born from panic and pride that sends a shockwave through the entire organization. The team's focus is no longer on the real issue. They are now in full-on damage control mode, working late into the night, not to innovate or build, but to fix the mistakes caused directly by him. There's a powerful symbolic shot. A whiteboard, once filled with strategic plans and hopeful ideas, is now a chaotic mess. It's being erased and rewritten over and over as each new plan fails before it even begins. The problem isn't the problem anymore. The leader is the problem. We see him, isolated in his glass office, the world moving on without him. The lights of his phone flash with unanswered calls. Piles of unfinished reports surround him like a fortress. He is utterly, completely alone, trapped in a crisis of his own making. The team has had enough. The whispers have grown into a resolve. They approach his office not as individuals, but as a collective. There's no anger, no shouting. They are calm, united, and firm. One person steps forward to speak for everyone. Their voice is steady, but their words land with the force of a tidal wave. We need to talk, they begin. We've been trying to solve this, but we can't. We can't solve the problem. Because now you are the problem. The words hang in the air, followed by an emotional, deafening silence. All the bravado, all the defensive walls the leader had built up, crumble in an instant. For the first time he sees it. He sees the exhaustion in their eyes, the damage caused by his pride, the consequences of his inability to simply admit that he was lost. He finally understands the truth he'd been running from all along. Shame and regret wash over him. He slowly gets up and walks out of his office, past his team, and out into the open air. He just stands there, taking deep, shuddering breaths, the cold air a shock to his system. We don't need to hear his thoughts. We see it all on his face, the weight of his failure, the realization of the trust he has broken, the self-reflection he has avoided for so long. It's a painful, quiet, and necessary surrender. After a few minutes that feel like an eternity, he turns around. He walks back inside, stands before his team, and with a voice stripped of all its former arrogance, he says the three words they needed to hear all along. I don't know. He looks them in the eyes and admits, I don't know how to solve this, and I need help. It is the bravest thing he has said in months, in that moment of vulnerability. Everything changes. The fear that had paralyzed the office dissipates. The team, now empowered and unburdened, begins to work together. Ideas flow freely. People collaborate, debate, and innovate, driven by a shared purpose. The leader's surrender becomes their liberation. He doesn't disappear. He steps aside gracefully, perhaps joining the team not as an authority figure, but as a learner. The final shot is of the office, now calmer, more focused. People are gathered around a whiteboard. But this time it's filled with coherent, collaborative plans. And in the background, we see the former leader. He's observing quietly, a humbled expression on his face, finally understanding. As the scene fades, a simple message appears. Leadership isn't knowing everything. Leadership is knowing when to step back. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that explores the human side of leadership and teamwork.